Raine et al. 1997. Brain abnormalities in murderers, indicated by PET scans. NGRI means not guilty for reason of insanity. Scans, also known as position emission tomography, injects a person with a small amount of radioactive material to conduct a scan. The radioactive substance is attached to the glucose. A task is given to patients to do, whilst the glucose gets used up and the radioactive substance breaks down and emits positions. Where there's a high concentration of gamma rays, there's a high concentration of activity. This is where glucose will be used up. This is shown by warmer colours on the PET scan. You can see this on Raine's actual PET scans. Strengths of using PET scans is that I can help predict what issues patients may face in relation to brain activity. They also detect areas of damage, indicated by which parts of the brain show abnormality. However, a weakness of using PET scans is that you're not advised to have too many, as it's unclear the future effects, and it's an invasive technique, and you may interpret them incorrectly, or if you know the results of the study, you may interpret them biasly. Previous research carried out by Raine showed that those who pled not guilty for reason of insanity had a significant difference in brain activity in the prefrontal cortex in comparison to controls. The study had an animal basis, as he studied areas of the brain which had proven to have high activity in animals. Aims. Raine wanted to investigate whether other areas of the brain associated with aggression would be different in murderers to control participants. He wanted to find a difference in brain structure activity between those who had committed murder and non-murderers. He wanted to investigate the role of the prefrontal cortex, corpus callosum, amygdala, medial temporal lobe, hippocampus, and thalamus in aggression. Now, Raine had 41 criminals, 2 females and 39 males, who were convicted of murder or manslaughter, awaiting tests to prove NGRI. They had a range of disorders from schizophrenia, substance abuse, epilepsy, learning disability, and paranoid personality disorder, all taken off medication 2 weeks prior to the scan. Now, Raine used a matched pair design, and due to this he had 41 control participants who were matched on age, gender, screened for general health, and had a psychoactive interview took place. Participants were excluded if they had a history of seizures, head trauma, or substance misuse for their own good. Procedure. Raine used a continuous performance task consisting of blurred numbers to focus on. They practiced 10 minutes before the injection of glucose tracer and completed the task for 32 minutes. Then the PET scan was taken. You can evaluate both the participants and the procedure. Due to only using 2 females and 39 males, it's low in generalizability to females and GRIs. It also can be seen as reductionist due to ignoring factors. It's shown that the NGRIs had a range of disorders: schizophrenia, substance abuse, epilepsy, learning disability, paranoid personality disorder. All these things could have led to them becoming criminals. Raine used a matched pair designs. This should control for individual differences, therefore making it reliable. Due to screening control participants, it can be seen as highly controlled for extraneous variables. It can also be seen as ethical. Due to using a continuous performance task, it can be seen as low in ecological validity and mundane realism because this does not measure aggression. Results. NGRI showed less activity in the frontal lobe, especially in the prefrontal cortex, which is associated with rational thinking, self-resistance, and memory. Less activity in the parental lobe, associated with abstract thinking. More activity in the occupational lobe, associated with vision. Less activity in the corpus callosum, which is the bridge of nerve fibers connecting the 2 hemispheres of the brain. This can lead to someone being more impulsive. An imbalance between the left and the right hemispheres in the limbic system. Less activity on the left side of the amygdala, more on the right side of the amygdala. The medial temporal lobe and the hippocampus. More activity on the right side of the hypothalamus. These areas are associated with aggression in animals. Conclusion. There's less activity in the prefrontal cortex, which leads to self-resistant and memory issues. This means you're better at remembering consequences. Less activity in the parental lobe, which leads to no sense of good or bad. A limbic defect leads to aggression, which is observed in cats. This is supported by Andy and Vitelli, 1987. Less activity in the corpus callosum makes it harder for the brain to communicate. Strengths. Raine used a matched pairs design with a large sample of 41 criminals and 41 controls, all with the same gender, same age, same ethnicity. This makes it valid. The scans are reliable comparisons between groups and they all had the same procedure. It allows for different brain activity to be compared objectively and reliably. Raine's study was based on animal studies, for example, Andy and Vitality, Egner and Flynn. This makes it reliable. It can be applied to society, and it could be done to identify criminals and to treat aggressive criminals, as well as to give people, like NGRIs, appropriate sentences. It's reliable. Bufkin and Luttrell 2005 carried out a meta-analysis of 17 brain studies, and they found out having a less active prefrontal cortex and amygdala leads to aggression. Weaknesses. It's not representative. There's a small number of offenders and only 2 of the offenders were females. It's not a good explanation of violent offenders. Possible variation in procedure images are based on location of certain brain landmarks within each individual. This can lead to incorrect results. PET scans can be unclear and interpreted differently. Bias by professionals may lead to different interpretations. It's impossible to be sure that brain dysfunction is related to behavior. Extraneous variables can affect findings, or social or situational factors can lead to violent behavior. This makes the theory unreliable. Results cannot conclude whether violent behavior is biological or environmental. The extrapolation of animal to brain to human is reductionist. Animal brains are much smaller, and humans can think about complex processes such as morality. Raine even said this doesn't fully explain criminal behavior. Genetics is not the only reason why people commit crimes, and treatment is unjustifiable.